Collin Tazz Deleon is a poi spinner, juggler, a great friend of mine, and a full-time performer. This episode was very different from the rest. It was long because we got into some life stories, trials and tribulations of becoming a full-time performer, and much more. Support us on Patreon for $5 a month to help us continue the project. Thank you for being here. Enjoy the episode, my friends, and welcome to the Poidcast. Tazz with a big episode 22. What's going on, man? How are you?
What's up, man? How's it going?
So good. I'm really excited for you to be here. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy performing schedule to be here with us.
Yeah, man. Thanks. Happy to be here, dude. Happy to be here.
So we'll kick off things going all the way back to the beginning, as we typically do.
Mhm.
Take us back to how and when you got introduced to poi.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's kind of like a quirky story. It doesn't really make sense. Like I still don't really know all the pieces. Um, when I was like 13, 14, I moved to Texas and we had like moved into this apartment complex and I was like sitting on like the third story balcony and I looked down and there's somebody, what I realized now at the time they were like spinning fire poi. And I was like, whoa, what is that? I need to go like figure that out or see what that is. And I like ran down there. And by the time I got down there was like nobody there. And I was like, all right, whatever. But that was always like the spark, you know. I had when I think back, I'm like, what was the first time I saw anything like that? It was like 14 years old, just looking down on a balcony. And I think like 2 years later, I was kind of a rebellious high schooler, so I was into raves at like 16, and that's kind of where I first saw like glow stringing and kind of stuff like that. And so then eventually that was just like kind of something. There was tutorials online, but I didn't really know nobody spin poi. There was like a couple people in my high school that spun poi.
Interesting. That's pretty uncommon.
Yeah, no, it was really just like something I did on my end because I was also like 16, so I was into raves, but I wasn't going to raves, you know.
So,
Like maybe
and what year do you think that was?
I've done it. It's like 13 years ago, so it's like
About 2010, roughly?
like 2010, 2009,
Yeah.
2010.
Okay. All right.
And
That's
so
cool.
there was videos out. There was good videos out.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So
Yeah.
during that time when you got rolling on poi, when you actually started spinning poi, who were some of your earliest inspirations? Yeah, this could be in person or online.
Yeah. So yeah, it was there was such a year of like there wasn't really anything but online, like at least until I was like out of high school and like just kind of roaming around, you know. So at first online it was like you know, Nick Woosley, he had like a 6 week series up already. And so I like followed, he had like a day by day, step by step kind of thing, you know? And so I just ran through that. But I think the first poi tutorial I ever saw, it was on like there's like this GSC, it's like glowsticking.com YouTube channel page now. And it was just like this over under rep. So it was like under left arm, over right arm, or over right arm, under left arm, right? And it was just like bop, 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 bop. And that was the first poi trick I ever learned. Poi trick.
Yeah.
Or whatever, you know. And so you know, I had like my mom's computer and like YouTube, and I was just like I would type in 1,000 different things. I probably saw like all the different variations of videos. I do remember like back then, and to this day, I'm sure we've all even been there, where you just can't even comprehend those things. And especially like a 16, 17-year-old kid, I'm like looking at this shit, I'm like I remember looking at like the y'all reference it all the time, like the Cyril poi video, right? And it just came out. Well, if not even not came out yet, you know, and being like, what? I don't even get that, you know, and just just going back
It's
to
unfathomable. It was so unfathomable.
yeah, now I go look at it and I'm like, okay, I see it, you know, but it's just like, yeah, so I didn't even bother, you know what I mean? Honestly, like I would kind of do that a lot. My goal in the internet with no teacher was just to always, I would find a video and then I would backtrack to try to find the prerequisites that were listed, and because I didn't know and was teaching me this after this after this. And I feel like when I teach people to this day, that's one of the hardest things people from. And that's why I feel like people pay people for lessons, is so that someone can take that out of the equation of like, okay, I learned this. Now that opens up these different pathways that I can do, instead of
Absolutely.
like, for a couple of years, I was just struggling. And I didn't have any goals with it. It was just this thing that distracted me from life, which was life was kind of a lot at that time, and it was that I did that. That was for 4 years, from 16 to 20. Poi was just nothing. There was no goals. I didn't want to perform. I wanted to have fun at raves, and I
Yeah.
did.
Right. That's what's up.
Um,
So when you had gotten rolling on Poi and you were taking it more seriously, this might be quite a few years after that time, but when did you
mhm.
attend your first Flow Arts Festival, and which one was it?
Yeah. So that's like quite a bit later, right?
Right.
Uh, so my first floor festival, it was 2019. It was Flowstorm.
Okay, the
Um,
Texas. Yeah, right. Texas
Texas
local.
Flowstorm. Yeah, I'm in Austin. I was living in Dallas at the time, and so it was just the one in the neighborhood, right? Um, Man, that was crazy. I mean, I think like Flowstorm is known as like this small little like homey festival. Like when you say that, like there's a couple festivals that also kind of met that vibe in the past, like SoFlo in Arkansas, or I feel like Glyph. People are always like Glyph is a homie festival.
But it's gotten bigger. Glyph's gotten bigger.
Glyph got bigger, but it still has that vibe. You know what I mean? Like shout out to like Chadwick and Dave Doss. It's just like a group of a couple people. You know what I mean? Like they're not like under any like sponsored structure. They're just like their own entity, which is really cool to see. And like it's cool to see like FAI do its thing too. But I feel like there's a difference. It's just this like a
It's that
difference in culture.
homegrown.
Yeah, the homegrown, right? Because I didn't go for like many, many years, but I think Flowstorm had been like 2012, and it had always had like, 70-person turnouts or maybe 100 people turnouts. But back in the day, that's where like I feel like Nikki Evers was there in 2013, and like I feel like Marvin Ong was there in 2012 or something. I don't
Ooh,
know the
okay.
exact dates. I'm just guesstimating, but I
Right,
have
right,
like,
right.
yeah. And then after that, I went to SoFlo, which was this really cool one in Arkansas. It doesn't happen anymore. I think they just couldn't afford it. So I felt like very grateful to do the last one. But it was like maybe 200 people, and it was like near where they throw like Backwoods Music Festival in like some mountain in Arkansas, and it was just like beautiful September, just like a really good time of year. I feel like location is so pretty. And then I went to Equilibrium that same year in 2019.
Okay, so you
Um,
attended quite a few right off
that
rip.
first year, I was like, "Let's go!"
Yeah. That's
I
what's
gotta
up.
try to like figure out whatever one I could do. I wanted to do, um,
Yeah, that's what's up.
and yeah, they were so inspiring because it's just like and at that point, like in 2019, I feel like I started Poi again around like I had a pretty big gap, and we may get into that, we may not, but I had a gap in Poi, and I started again in like 2018, and
Let's
so
get
like
into it, bro. It's the time to get into it. Tell me, hit me with it. What
the
was the
gap.
what was the gap about?
What was the gap about? Okay, so well, I said I don't know the short and the sweet story, but I did
You,
like 3 years in prison for selling acid, So I grew up kind of struggling, and I didn't, I don't have family support or whatever. I don't want to be a whole pity party or whatever, but life was weird and hard for me. So that was my job for, that's what I ended up doing to survive. And I was also caught up in it. I was hooked on it, not drugs,
and
but
young as
that was
fuck.
the drug.
And
As
young
and
as fuck.
young, super young. I was from 17, 18, 19, 20.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Just a kid,
uh
bro.
yeah, and I was doing well, whatever that would mean prospectively at the time, but then I got caught up, and 20 to 23, I was yeah, I was in like a federal prison, and I didn't spin poi at all. And because I remember I tried to spin poi at a certain point, and where I was at, people would put like bars of soap or like locks and socks and beat people. You know what I mean? And so I was like, I don't want to get caught up with like a weapon, And
Right.
so I just stopped. I just forgot about it. You know what I mean? Um, and there's
It's
like
a
maybe
rough
like
couple
once
years,
or
I'm sure.
twice. It was crazy. Yeah, for sure. I've definitely like disassociated the whole thing. And not really like it sticks with you. You know what I mean? It's definitely affected like the way I do life and my psyche and all this stuff. But you know, we keep pushing. You know.
Yeah, man. And something
Um,
we'll get into here in a couple minutes, but you really have kept pushing in a lot of senses, and you really have grown so much. Obviously I haven't been your friend for like that long. We met like what, maybe 2 years ago, maybe not even
yeah,
that
it's
long
almost two
ago.
years ago, maybe not even, but
but
almost.
um, but yeah, just seeing where you are now, dude, like it's huge growth as a person, as an artist, individual, as a businessman, which we'll get into
Thanks.
here in a sec. But yeah,
Yeah,
man, I
man.
mean,
I mean, it's
this is a
crazy.
part of your story. This is a part of your story, so it's like important for us to be real and to get into
Yeah,
stuff
I
that
mean, it
that
is what it is. That's like you. It's like what I'm just gonna like skip it. Then you wouldn't understand like I don't know. The adversity is what drives the human oftentimes, and that doesn't
Ooh.
always have to mean that like people who, you have to go through shit to like be successful, but like it helps to have a drive under you. And so
Hell
yeah, I
yeah.
don't know, I got out and I mean the second I got out, my buddy like I had a buddy that like dude, I had so much stuff stolen from me and whatever, but like I had like this car that I had bought that I had still gotten, and my friend gave me back like my contact staff and a set of fire poi. You know what I mean?
Let's
And
go.
I was like, okay, like I should get back into this. You know what I mean? And like I immediately did. Like I was practicing all the things. And the crazy thing is like to just like give perspective of like how far I was just having fun. I was 4 years in, like I came out still rocking like one hand triquetras and stuff, and like um
Wait. Pause right there. What do you mean you had learned one hand triquetras pre prison? What the
yeah,
fuck?
I did. I had seen like that Jonathan Alvarez video at the Lake Tahoe Flow Festival
No
performance, and
shit.
he was just rocking it, and I had nobody ever had to show me. I would just, because I was just doing it, and so really my practice at the time is anywhere I was walking, I was just spinning, and I had a lot of free time because I was a truck dealer, and so I would just do this over and over until it kind of worked one day. And when I got it, I couldn't actually explain how I got it. Like I could just do it.
Yeah, right,
And
right,
even
right.
when I
Yeah.
got out, like I couldn't explain how I got it. But now I can explain it, you know?
So
um,
real quick before you get into how, I want to shout out my brother really quick because he learned how to do fishtails when he was walking from our buddies' houses, from our house to our buddy's house, and he was just trying to fishtail over and over. And he would walk. This is back in the day. We were both in. I was in like junior high. He was in high school. This is like
Dude, walking's the
10 years
way.
ago. Yeah, no, for real. Like, yeah, my brother Sky, he would he would practice fishtails while he was walking, but he ended up learning that. But yeah, dude, that is quite a trick. I will say that 2.1 hand, if you want to say it like 2.1 hand triquetra, or you want to say it 2.1 hand extension versus Mercedes, whatever you want to say, either term, you know what I'm talking about. That shit is like up there with like the most difficult things that I have learned because
Yeah, so
that
I
shit
wasn't a
is
bad, I was
hard.
a pretty decent play spinner before I went in, but there's no videos, you know what I mean? And who knows? Like, who knows?
Yeah.
But I was onto something, and so I came out with the thing is it was like it's an interesting perspective. I look back on it a lot because I came back with like mostly a full curriculum, but like there was gaps in it, and so at 2018 I was like, where are my gaps? Like, and a funny embarrassing story is I went to Equilibrium and I was taking this class from Tim Goddard. I have a recap video. I still study it, and like I was like doing this pattern. It was like this stall body tracer class, and it was like windmill, these body tracers at the shoulder, or these stalls at the shoulders, where the tracer would be. And I was like, why can't I get it? And he was walking around helping everyone because he's so great and awesome. And I was like, hey, why isn't this working? He's like, oh, you can't do your windmill the other direction. And I was like, and I was
You're
like,
like,
oh, great. Of all the,
uh.
and that was also what makes him a really great teacher. He was able to like, and I feel like I can do it now, maybe not as good, but he was able to really quickly see like, oh, why this isn't working and point it out,
What a homie. Tim is dope. If y'all
Tim is so
haven't,
cool. I
if
don't
you're
think I've
new,
met him that one time, but like I thought something really valuable about him was like I was really socially awkward and just like nervous. You know, you're like, oh my god, this
yeah,
is crowded, and like
bro.
I'm sitting there just kind of watching him spin in this cabin, and maybe I watch him for like a minute, like seconds too long before it would be considered even vaguely awkward. And he stops spinning, and he's like, "Hey, what's your name, dude?" And I'm just like, "Hi, yeah, my name." And he's like,
So
"Is there anything you want to learn?" Or he just immediately is just like introducing himself, like start because he knows like his presence is like intimidating, and so he's already, or he's just that's awesome, but maybe he
yeah,
knows that
right.
he's intimidating, and he pushes past that to just be a super nice dude. And I remember leaving the festival, and he like remember I was walking, seeing him walk around. He like said goodbye to me, remembered my name, he remembered like everybody's name. And so I feel like he's like put exceptional energy into just being extremely friendly, and I think that's inspiring in its own degree,
Dude.
regardless. Like he would be the humblest dude, and then he would go into the fire circle and just like wreck shop, and then just he would put out his point. He's just been like,
So if you're new to this podcast, you should really go watch the Tim Goddard episode. It was so good, so fun to record with that guy. But for real, shout out to Tim because he is. I mean, I don't even have to begin on his credentials and my praise for this man, but it's
yeah,
really, really, really cool to hear that he is, just a personable, humble dude to be around and teach. That's
yeah.
very, very cool. Thank you for sharing that story. So, something I do want to get into here is because we met at a flow arts festival. So
Mm.
we're gonna stick on flow arts festivals here for a second.
Yeah, I can talk
But
about Flow Arts Festival for like a whole episode. So let's
but
go.
we met at Kindle of last year. And dude, you I don't remember if we were bullshitting about something and you were like, "Oh, you do this thing with 3 poi," and you were curious about something. I think it was half shower. It was half shower. You were like, "Dude, how do you do half shower? Like run me through the loop of how to do it." And I was walking you through half shower, and dude, you shocked me about how good your 3 poi was because you never post anything 3 poi related, so I never get to see anything 3 poi of yours. But dude, you are so good at 3 poi. So like, tell me, this is the question that I was gonna
This
put
is
you on
I
the
was about
spot
to say this is that question. Yeah.
with. So, dude, why? Okay,
And
why
I knew
don't I
you were gonna
first
ask
of
this.
all?
And to be honest, I like almost posted a 3 point video this morning because I had like tried to record a 3 point video maybe like before I had I'm like out on I'm not home right now, I'm somewhere else. And so before I left,
For
I was like trying
real.
to record. And I don't know, man. Y'all I think it's just like I get in my head about it. You know what I mean? Like maybe I'll post like a 20-second clip on fire, but like I feel like in relevant I don't practice it anymore. I don't know what happened. So there was a small period where I was really into 3 point. Okay. Because you're like Tazz. Why don't your real question? Let's like put all the bullshit aside. Your real question is like Tazz. Why don't you spin 3 point anymore? Let me tell you. I don't even really own a great set of 3 point. I mean, like I have like a juggling set, but like I don't think that's what I would want. But like besides that, I drilled 3 point for a little while, and I had some big inspirations for there for a little bit. Like Danny Rose, dude. Shout out to
Danny.
Danny Rose. Danny Rose broke ground. Like that was really cool.
Danny
I mean,
Danny's one of the reasons
um,
I started 3 poi, by the way. Just
mhm.
real quick.
I
Yeah.
remember at the time, like, because he had, yeah, like the Dangulum kind of uh idea and stuff. I remember being like, Danny Rose, hell yeah. But there was a point where like I was trying to drill 3 point, and then I think it was like, it was like at the same time, like I had just gotten out of prison, like I was drilling trying to catch up, watching all the videos. I was able to comprehend a lot more because I was like
Mm-hmm.
not in chaos, and I was older, and so um and there's a lot more resources, and so I was just like grinding through, making sure if like I popped a video and I didn't know it, I was like, all right, let's go. And I would just I still do that. That's like my training kind of, is like watching videos and being like, do you want to learn that? But dang, I forgot what I was talking about.
3 poi, dog. Why don't you
Three
do
point. Why don't we do it? Okay. So I was really enjoying that. And like Jonathan Alvarez, super big inspiration. I learned the 2 point one hand triquetra. like the Superman stuff. I feel like I plateaued so hard at juggling patterns that, and like maybe like left hand kind of swapping, and then I found like it just all kind of looked, never felt clean. I could never do a whole burn of it. I would always do like 2 to 3 or something. And I don't know. I really do need to get back into it. Like I've honestly been anticipating you asking me this question since
You knew.
you do it, because I know how passionate you are about it. And I just, to be honest, 2 point just feels so good now. Like I feel like I've tapped into this like place where like poi has always been this thing where it's like, let's learn tricks, let's learn tricks, let's learn tricks. And
Hmm.
then like, the last couple years especially, like 2 point is this like I'm home. Like this is like just like I'm playing, like I can just have fun here. Like and I stopped focusing maybe so much on like, a friend said this to me one time and I really took it to heart. It was like, they were like, I'm done like trying to do whatever is the hardest thing, and I just wanted to do what feels good. And like that's when I started spinning fast again. And I just, it's the same thing. I just like do what feels good, because it feels good, not to like learn tricks.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
and the thing with three poise.
and so, so that, sorry, I'm super getting
No,
distracted.
no, hit me,
So
hit me.
with 3 point, it feels like a grind again. You know what I mean? Which I
Mm,
will do a little bit of grind, but I have a really extensive 2.1 hand repertoire. So like I can kind of just add a third point sometimes and it can look good. But I don't know. I'm also, there's certain places I'm caught up. Like I've got wall playing flower. I think
Cascade.
I don't post it. Like I do it, I guess. Like I don't train it as hard as I used to, but I just don't post it. I feel like the standard's so high. I feel like every time I watch like a 3 point video, I'm like, oh, that's like, you should do that on the other side, or that weave kind of looked a little weird, or I drop it because I start trying to juggle, and poi juggling is just so hard.
It's fucked up, dude. It's
Yeah,
fucked
like
up.
you and Joey both have it, but I don't have that. The Nobi Cascade, dude. That
No
shit's
beat
crazy.
Cascade, dude. Okay,
I
real
have
quick.
it on clubs, and
This
I
is a
have it on
funny
uh
story, real quick, real quick.
sticks.
So Joey was getting into No Beat Cascade, and I was like, bro. Keep in mind, Joey's brand new
I
to
know.
brand new to 3 point in particular, to poi alone, but 3 point particularly. And I was like, dude, like that, I was like not trying to be like pessimistic about his growth and shit, but I was like, bro, 8 months, you're not going to be able to run that shit like fucking back to back to back in 8 months. There's just no way. Like it's so hard, considering where he was at. I was like, dude, if you really drill it, you might be able to get it 6 months, whatever. But I mean, it just goes to show how difficult poi juggling is, and you really have to be dedicated. And especially when you're working on other stuff, and it's like not the only thing that you're working on. Like if you only worked on that pattern alone, you just woke up and worked on it for a couple hours a day, like sure, you'd be able to get it earlier than that. But it's like, dude, the kind of like commitment and the grind that you had previously mentioned, it's so real, man.
Yeah, and
It's
honestly,
so
that's kind of like where I think I'm at with it. Like I should get back to like finding some content to drill. Like that is something that I could add back into like my practice routine. I think like getting a fresh, like a different set. Like I've never liked static rope.
dude, this podcast has just turned into me peer pressuring people to
Oh,
start
I hear
spinning three
you. I
point
know,
on.
I know it's coming. Like I think that's like the cost of doing business here. Like
Who am I, dude?
if you watch any of the episodes, you can't be like, oh, I'm gonna get on there and Patrick's not gonna ask me why I do 3 point. I didn't watch it on Lex's, but did you ask Lexi if she does 3
Yeah, I
point?
did. I
Yeah.
did. I did. Bro, what is
I
wrong
watched
with
it. It's
me?
only like 20 minutes in right now.
What
Don't
is
worry.
wrong with me, dog? All right, all right. Well, I'll stop peer pressuring you with this fucking 3 point
No,
questions,
it's
dog.
it's
All right, all
good
right.
peer pressure, and I think it is just like I'm grinding so much. I try. So in the thing, right? Like I'm gonna like take us back like on another topic, but like,
Yeah, do it, dog.
I got out of prison in like December 2017. I did like construction while I was first getting out for like a year, and I hated it. And then I like had already started getting back into like poi and floors and stuff for a year just in the practice. And I there's a lot of people at that time I was inspired by locally. There's some like really there's a few like you probably no one's ever heard of them really probably, but like Marcos Rangel, Taken Bronicorn, Dan Hendricks, just a couple really good people at the time that were like spinning poise specifically, and I was like, oh, okay, that'll help me practice. And um, but yeah, I was doing this construction job and I just hated it. And I started seeing performance opportunities, and I found this like gig that I could do like a couple times a week where I like spun fire in this club. And I saved up some money from my construction job, and I quit and just sent it on that, and like
Damn.
was doing like little I do like gig stuff on the side, but it didn't like feeling like entrapped in that environment. And like stagehand work or like other just little gig opportunities, but I tried to keep it florist related. And until COVID, I was running it all right, but like
So
I was a
I'm gonna
lot of other
pause you.
side things. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna pause you real quick. So for y'all that don't know, I did mention it in the intro to this podcast, but Tazz is a full-time performer, y'all. Full-time. All right. So put some respect on this man's name. All right. He's a full-time performer, and he made the leap. He made the leap. So he went over, y'all just barely heard him talk about the construction job and all that stuff. He had a, normal ass, like, people job, and he decided to put it aside to make a full-time career out of what he loves very much. So this is a really important topic this is like the main topic that I really was excited to get into about this. So I want you to continue talking about
All right.
your leap
Yeah, yeah,
over
yeah. I got
to
you.
the performance
I can just
industry.
kind of
Like
like run it.
keep rolling, because this shit's really fucking really cool. And for everybody that's dreaming out there to be doing a similar thing, pay attention, because this man's doing it out here. Like, this is really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I won't front the whole thing or through the whole thing. Like, so I was staying with my mom when I first got out of prison. She let me stay with her. So me making this leap, it wasn't like, I don't want to like front on being like, oh, I was just like, I was paying my own rent and I just like took this leap. I have made that leap at a different point now, and I'll get into that. But I was staying at my mom's, and we've had a really tricky relationship our whole life, and so I was grateful to stay there, but it wasn't ideal. I'm not. That's not what I'm here to get into. But I'm just, for business sake and transparency's sake. Like, I'm probably not going to get into numbers on here because I don't really know
That's
them.
okay.
But like, I'll tell you all the way, like if I was having support or not, and at what periods of time I was and wasn't. Currently, I support myself fully, but yeah, so at that time I did have that support of a family member to like not have to be like, oh, I'm homeless if this doesn't work out, you know.
But that's big news for you to be where you are now, dude. So it's
So
like so cool, dude.
yeah, so at the time that was that. And this was this crazy opportunity at the time. It's kind of like it's kind of weird to talk about. It was definitely not. It was this place, and there was just this dinner club, and we would spin fire in there, and there would have other stage acts, right? And so it was this residency called Don't Tell Supper Club. Um, it was this dinner club. It was this format. Honestly, like if I had a bunch of money, this is probably what I would invest into. Like if I like one day win the lottery or something, because it was so cool, and it was just like ran by, I don't know. If you ever had a residency, you know it's kind of rough. So the people that were running it were a little rough. But I mean, I don't know. It's like I'm have like a lot of gratitude. You know, I wouldn't be in a lot of places if it wasn't for like them even being like, yeah, here, take a
The
little bit of
building,
money.
it's a building block.
Totally. And so then that's just the owners. The people I was there with were awesome. But they had and they were awesome. They hired a bunch of performers, even if, you know what I mean? That's an awesome thing to do, regardless of whatever else. And uh
So
yeah,
so
so I was
how so
doing
my question for you is, how did you take the residency? What was the leap for you to kind of like build yourself as an artist and start getting more money as a performer, more financial support for your career? And like, what was the turning point, if you'd say there was a turning point, if there was one?
what do you like from going like, well, I still have my job, or what do you mean?
So from the residency that you had taken the leap,
Oh, no, I mean
committed.
the leap was the leap. You know what I mean? Because like here's the thing, like and this is like the mindset that like no one's gonna get is like uh I'm a felon. and I'm a federal felon, and at the end of the day, like, I can't get student loans. Uh, I can't get a lot of jobs. There's not a real point for me to go to college, even if I could get the money to do
Right.
it. I can go. There's opportunities. There's directions, but like,
Sure.
even what
It's
is it
fucking
now?
hard out here, bro.
It's 5, 6, 7 years later at this point. You know what I mean? And even
Yeah,
then, like, it loosens up, but it's still, especially at that time, it was very strict. And so my
totally.
opportunities, I looked around and I was disappointed at every point. And I was just like, to the point where I just got like anxious to even want to like apply myself in any direction, because it was unclear if I went and did, like, I was like, oh, maybe I could be a massage therapist, and I would read into it and I'd be like, oh, I don't know, maybe not, like the kind of unspecific in the background check thing, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's just like everything was just against me, and so I was like, well, let's go. It wasn't like even let's go. It was like, this seems like the only viable option. It didn't even seem like something. It never was like, oh, I can really support myself on this. It was like, oh, maybe this and a couple other things. I was in my logical survival brain. I was like, all right, if I add this and I do like stagehand work and like some other little gigs on the side, like I'll live, and
You were
I'll
just
have.
trying to make it work.
I was just trying to make it work. That's it. And so I feel like that drive, the thing is that when I had that residency, like, the thing about being a full-time performer isn't about making a lot of money. It's about being really good at being poor. I tell you fucking what, like, this, and maybe I could be better at being poor. Like, I eat out way too much, but it's hard to cook for one person. You know what I mean? I'm a solo dude. Um, I'm in a relationship, but I don't live with them, her. And, yeah, and so the whole thing always has been, actually, for me, is about survival. And then maybe I just feel like I was blessed with a path because of adversity or something, and I've gotten to get this far, or it was the motivation from being like not feeling like I had any other option. So, I'm doing this residency and I work 3 nights a week. I'm making $200 a night. I'm not making a lot of
Right.
money a week. You know
Right.
what I mean? And so I'm like stashing all that back, getting supplies for this. And like, I don't understand marketing. I'm like,
Yeah, you're just a dude that's
I'm
trying.
sending
Yeah.
out like YouTube videos of cold emails to, like, I'm Googling like wedding professional, like wedding planners and just anything I think, I'm just like, my thing was I went from working a 40-hour job. So I was like sitting at home at my mom's house, like watching anime, practicing poi, and her perspective, like, I'm like sitting on the couch watching TV, and in my perspective, I actually used to, no lie, like, if I found it back in the day, like, and I still do this, but not as much. If I found a trick that was really hard that I just needed to like repeat, I just would turn on whenever I was binging at the time and just like repeat
Hell
it while I'm
yeah.
watching the show. And I'm like,
Hell
it
yeah.
made it more entertaining and less like, oh, this is hard. Um,
To
and
have
like,
your mind be kind of like, I don't want to say like distracted, but it might be the best term for it
yeah,
when you're
because you're
trying to
trying to
drill
just
through
like drill
something.
these things into your subconscious, so it's muscle memory. It's like you're just trying to get your 1,000 reps in.
Yeah, man. So I don't want to like
So
undercut your performer, like just because your whole like lineage as a performer.
yeah, well, here, I'll like
So
run it along a little bit.
but
Um,
catch us up to current day, because
yeah,
you got so much shit going on right now, and he
yeah.
is
So I
not.
got you in on the backstory. You know
All
what I
right,
mean? You
get
can
me.
use your imagination on the rest of the backstory, but um, man, as far as being a performer, like, I uh more to just my experience with prison and being a felon or whatever. I got off of probation early for good behavior. And I had a very nice PO officer that actually took what I was doing seriously and saw that I was like working to start my own business with this kind of stuff. And so they were like, hey, somebody that's not trying to like uh repeat a bad pattern. And I just passed all my drug tests, so I was sober.
Right.
And so white too. I want to like acknowledge that that's probably like a reason we're in the system, like, that helped. I don't want to like not acknowledge that. But I got off early, and the second I got off, I like a couple months later, I like moved to Austin, Texas. So I went from Dallas to Austin. Austin is definitely known as like this kind of like hippie centric capital of the country. I feel like there's three or four, right? You got like Boulder, Colorado, you got like Asheville, you've got like Portland, right? Where there's just like this big culture here on the arts. And so um immediately just like I was getting more gigs, right? But then a couple months after I moved there, COVID happened.
Oh, fuck
And yeah, right.
it.
Yeah. So, and that was this crazy mental fuckery is like, it was like 4 or 5 months from the time I got off probation to like when COVID happened. And, I was just like, oh, I felt free finally for like 5 years fully.
Mm,
And I was like, let's go. And I was like, I'm going to do everything. I'm going to travel. I
right.
was like, applying to all the flow festivals. I was like, trying to get all the gigs. I was trying to get all the gigs far away because I hadn't
Yeah.
been able to go to them. Um, and
And
then,
then bad
yeah,
times. And then bad
yeah,
times
dude, it was
ensued.
rough. So,
And
and I
what a
didn't get
bad
a lot
time
of
to
people got
be.
really lucky and got like unemployment and stuff. And if I would have kept my construction job, like surely I would have
Right.
too.
Right.
But I had nothing. So like I went and got a job at a grocery store because nobody wanted to do
Fuck.
that. Which I got a job at like a hippie grocery store in Austin. It was called Wheatsville. And so like it was honestly like one of the better places to be. The culture was really nice, and although it was crazy, I'm not going to get into
Yeah,
grocery
yeah, yeah.
store experiences,
Right,
but
right,
it was
right,
good.
right.
Yeah. So, anyways, but then the second the vaccine came out, and this was kind of where I'm going to mention, like, I did put myself, because I was paying rent on my own in Austin in some room with cooperative house. Like in Austin, a lot of us all live together in houses and rent rooms is kind of the how it all is down there. And so I was renting a room and working at this grocery store, and uh yeah, the vaccine came out and I started seeing a couple other people get gigs, and I just like got a couple offered, and then I couldn't take them because I was like working that night, and I just quit like a couple days later. And in a weird way, like I probably had like 2 grand in my savings account. Like I did not have any money. And I don't really have like a close family relationship, so I don't have a bailout. And
Right.
um, that fire under my ass just like made me the do it or you're gonna not eat. um,
Dude, I
made
just I can't tell you how inspiring that is,
And so I do tell
for
people that, and I know it sounds like some people are like, "Well, you don't know," and I'm like, "I kind of know." Like, it's like they're
dude,
like,
I'm
and
kind
I
of in the
do tell
mix,
people,
dog.
they're like, "Oh, I want to do this, 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 and this," and it's just like, do it. The
Yeah,
hardest fucking part is doing it. It's scary.
right.
It's terrifying. Like, if you fail, what if you fail? Someone said to me, and it's somebody I used to perform with a lot, and it was a really great time. And um, something that stuck with me that they said was, they're like, yeah, I don't know if this is gonna work out forever with me doing gigs and performing for money, and but at least like when I'm like 50 or 60 or whatever, I get to look back and be like, hey, there's that like period of life, time of my life where like I tried and it was fun, and so my thing that I say always is that like uh damn, put myself on the spot. What's that thing that I always say? The thing that I always say is like, at least I'll get to look back and it'll be cool.
Right. You
Um,
won't regret it, you're
I won't
happy that you
regret it.
tried.
Like, well, the thing I always say is like, I don't know how. People are like, how do you do it? I'm like, I don't know, but I'm just gonna keep doing it until it doesn't work, and then when it doesn't work, I'll stop doing it, and maybe I'll try to do it again when it stops working, because that's what I've already had to do, and I love it. You know what I mean? It's awesome. Like,
Right.
what, like, I'm like, let's go, dude. I'm gonna keep running these small statistic numbers, like people who don't go back to prison, people who get to do their like passion for work. Like, what
Let's
other small
go.
statistics can I hit? Like,
Let's go.
I feel
My
like I just learned
boy.
Seb's mess. That's a small statistic, right? Like,
Wait.
no, no,
Pause.
no,
You say,
clubs, clubs,
all right,
clubs,
all right,
clubs,
all right,
clubs.
all right. So, yeah, man. First of
Still
all, I
small
just
statistic.
friend to friend, bro. Aside from the podcast, I just want to say how deeply proud I am of you for not becoming the statistic and falling into a category that's a positive light of somebody who made a really good thing from a bad decision and a bad type
Yeah.
of living.
Well, and
It's
it's
just
just
so
all
cool, man.
set up. Everything's set up against you, man. Like, and like, I don't know, like, I don't know, like, maybe we say this, maybe we don't, but like, fuck the U.S. judicial system and
Bro,
the whole
it's so
government, dude.
whack.
Like, it's so whack. Like, from the second you get out, you're set up to go back. Like,
Ugh.
it's a
That
whole
shit's just a money machine,
money
dog.
making, profiting system. The prison that I was in, next to it was a warehouse that made medical supplies, and people would go over there and work for like $1 an hour, and they were happy about it because they were like,
Right.
yo, I got like 10 years, man. If I like do this, I get out with like, I don't know, whatever the fucking math was, but it's like, and they are grateful, and it is a thing. You could look at it that way, but it's fucking whack. Like, I would not
Yeah.
do it. It's not mandatory. But it's like people just volunteer to do it because they're gonna make money and they take advantage of it. It's crazy because
Bro.
there's a whole Netflix documentary. If someone wants to go watch it, you can Google like the keywords that I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
it's all there. The government literally
Right.
just used prison to fix the wage gap that we lost from slavery, and we've never just filled that wage gap. And
Woo.
not to say that what I was doing isn't wrong. Like, I was
No,
selling
I get you. I get you. No,
LSD
your point's valid,
and
bro.
whatever. But yeah, but besides that, like, I can't go to Canada. You know what I mean? Like there's so many like dumb things. Like, I have a drug felony. I was selling LSD. I can't get student loans. Like, that's just like a thing. Like, you can have other felonies and get student loans. Now I'm grateful. Like, I was able to get my flame effects operator's license in the state of Texas. So like, woohoo! Shout out to that. I called them. I had to do a whole like introduction and get references and fill out a different paperwork to say disclose it and stuff. It's always a little bit of extra work. Um, some people are understanding where it was like they just were looking for people who did arson and terrorism. And, I've got some time behind it now, so it helps. But it definitely, I took it, I ran with it. I was like, if this is gonna bite me in the butt, at least I'm gonna like use the fucking sheer anger of it all to like motivate me to do things. Um, Damn, where are we? Okay, so
So,
then like how I've gotten to that today, let's like, all that is kind of like this fire under my ass. And then yeah, there's that moment in like 2021-ish where like, yeah, um, I quit the grocery job, I started performing, and I mean I just started doing it, man. There's multiple ways to hustle it, and I would do all of them.
all right. So, I want you to catch us up to speed on everything. We kind of got into the past a little bit. We got into how you got into the position that you're currently in, but catch us up to speed on where you're currently at now and the successes, maybe some of the failures that you've had along the way. Is somebody who's an inspiring or aspiring artist who wants to be where you are at. Tell us a little bit about where you're currently at now and what we have to look forward to if we're going to pursue the same route that you did.
Yeah, I think I said it earlier. It'd be a good quote to start with, but yeah, part of being a performing artist is getting good at really learning to be poor. But it works out, right? Because it's like, you if you're gigging, you're probably not you're working on the weekends, and that's when your friends go out, and you end up not really going out and socializing as much, and you're more conscious with your eating and your spending habits, which is I feel like good for people at the end of the day anyway, right? Instead of being poor, I like to say I'm a minimalist.
Yeah.
um yeah, but no, so and I'm not even doing that bad anymore, to be honest, but I think you just got to get really comfortable with it, and kind of where I left off was kind of talking about these two big shows that I did about 2021, and just within the people I was around at the time, within like just like throwing myself into these experiences, and just trying to soak up as much as possible. I think I learned a lot because I didn't have anything else. I didn't have anything else to do. Like, it was my full-time job to learn how to do this. Like, whether it was like the management of it, like the contract writing of it, like the learning choreo. Like, I sucked at choreo. Like 5, 6, 7, 8. I was like, fuck. And now I'm like, I'm pretty good at it. To say with props, I'm pretty good at it. I usually effectively make choreography with people, which is like a skill that I just like was only built by getting thrown into it with other people, you know? And like shout out to all those people who helped me with that at the time, you know what I mean? My friend Sage, the same person that Nick Woosley referenced, made me feel super
Oh,
cool.
for real?
She taught me how to score, which I didn't even know what that was, but scoring is when you like listen to a song and like write out like the counts of it on the musical changes, and that's how you like write a dance piece. Uh,
Wow.
and she just sat down with me and taught me how to do it. You know what I mean? Um, and just, yeah, I'm sure I've had a lot of other really great teachers and helpers and little lessons along the way, just trying to be open and receive everything you can. You know.
That's what's up.
Um, and I've got really blessed. I've had this so I went from doing TRF and Pumpkin Nights in 2021 to 2022. I just decided to give Pumpkin Nights my full energy, and then I did that again this year in 2023. So and in between those, I would do gigs with entertainment companies. I would run Gig Salad Hustle. I would run Instagram hustles. I'd run lessons. If I've been in credit card debt, I've worked
Dude,
odd jobs, you know what I mean? But I'm like committed to having my time open to commit to the art. I've sold poi, you know what I mean? Like, just like because it's like this is what I'm trying to do, you know what I mean?
all
And
right.
like,
Let me interrupt you really quick.
okay,
So
and then I'm
every
gonna cap us off.
for everybody at home that is like, if you have a dream right now and you're hearing this and you're thinking, man, I could fucking do that, dude. I could fucking, like I want to be full time. I want to take my performing to the next level. I want to be able to do this and pursue this, and I'm passionate about it. Man, look at Tazz right now, for real. Like, he didn't start off in the most, grandiose fucking way. Like, y'all already heard his story. He was down here working fucking grocery store job, fucking felon. Like, he's not doing super hot in life, right? But look at this man right now. He's fucking murdering. He's murdering. He's gonna be like great gracious and like humble and shit, but like from a third party, Tazz is doing so well for himself, for a performer, an artist, as a person, as a professional, a businessman, a hustler, you name it, dude. Like, he is for real murdering it right now. So if he can do it, you can too. And
Or just
this is what
try, you
what
know what I
what the
mean? Like at least you
podcast
get to say you tried, you know?
yeah, this is what the podcast is really for, is like talking about the ins and outs, the trade secrets and all this shit. Like, Taz really has a huge he has so much to contribute as far as his story and the way that he has made things work. So I'm gonna let you close it out with the performing. Let us know where you're at right now.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for all the praise, man. It does feel like hard to receive, and so I do try to and remain humble because it doesn't all feel real sometimes, and that's why I say, I'm blessed that I've been in these situations where it's like, I don't know, I just feel grateful to be here and be doing it, and so um yeah. So thank you for the praise. Yeah, so yeah, where I'm at is, the I've been in a lot of situations and around a lot of people who I've just been able to learn from, and I've committed my time to traveling to flow festivals, learning from taking classes, like trying to meet people around the world. Like when Tim Goddard was in the country, I gotta just like see this dude in person. You know what I mean?
So cool.
Or just like pulling inspiration from as many places as possible, and but really just like I've been grateful to be also in a position of having a lot of these people. Sage, um I've been like Ashley Galliford has been a really good voice spinner around me. I've
Let's
been
go.
around a lot of people that um have really professionally helped me.
Yeah, and
uh,
impacted you as an artist and as a person.
and so did as much as I can to take it all in, and I still am I'm still learning so much. Like I still know, you're like, what's, the question, I'm going to finish off where I'm at, but the question is like, where am I at? But I'm like, what's next? I don't know.
Let's
I'm
go.
just going to
That's
keep going.
exciting.
Yeah. So it's like, you're catching me hopefully in the middle of it, but like, I'm always like, is at the end of it, like every day, and so I just try to learn as much as I can. But yeah, so I've been really grateful to receive like these longer contracts of work, right, with Pumpkin Nights. And then this year I'm actually recording it in a like apartment that we're staying in and doing this gig called Lightscape, and I'm like tending like a candle garden. It's not performing. I'm just use my flame effects operator's license that I need to pull fire show permits for through a friend of mine who got me the gig, who is a flow artist. Shout out to JJ for even I could him. I wouldn't even be doing this job right now, and so a big shout out to him. But we just tend to candles. But I wouldn't be doing this. I feel like I'm not in the industry, but I'm in the industry. But it's great. After doing 130 shows, I'm like, oh, I'm just lighting these candles. And
Bro,
it's not just
that's
that. It is work, and it is dangerous, and it is
bro, I'm
something
so
that
fucking
I do.
proud of you, man. For real.
But
Like, well, I'll
yeah,
move on to the next topic here, but like, god damn, I'm so fucking proud of you, man. Like, for real, it's so inspiring for me as an artist. Aside from the podcast, all this shit, being your friend, it's just like, damn, dude, this motherfucker's out here really doing it. So it's so cool, man. I can't give you enough props for how much you've grown as an artist and as a person, man. And that'll and just be really cool for people that listen to the podcast and dream in the same way that I do and that you do. And you made it fucking happen, dude. And you're just still crushing and on to the next thing.
thanks, man. Yeah, if I inspire anybody, I'm really stoked by that. So that's really
Dude, you're
cool.
absolutely killing it. So something along the performance aspect, how different do you think the performance that you would give for your typical crowd, like your Fire Night crowd that you'd be doing your typical gig? How different do you think the performance would be from that to a Flow Arts Festival performance? Would it be a drastic difference? Tell me about the in and outs of the thought process going out. Performing for muggles versus performing for flow artists. What's that like?
Man, I hate you right now for this question, but like this shit's been like I'm in the process of hoping that I don't know. I did a gala in my first Flow Festival. I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Which
You know what
one?
I
Which
mean?
one was it?
In Flow Storm, I was
All
in the
right.
gala. I did a 2 to 3 point act actually. My like drop trick was like trigetro verse extension. You know what I mean? Like when the music crescendoed. But I had like a tangle and 3 point. It was a really windy night. I was also just like super nervous. Like cried afterwards. I
Fuck,
thought it
dude.
was
Yeah,
so
me
bad.
too, brother. Me
Um,
too, brother.
and I had a lot of praise and stuff, but like what so since Florida's my favorite, I've like thrown a whole Florence festival, or like not a whole. I was a organizer for a year of Flow Storm in 2022, and not anymore, but I really loved these things, and actually did a gala that year, but I won't even count that because they asked me. They were like, the people doing the gala were like, Chaz, we really need someone in this spot. Can you just do something? And I was like, fine. And I didn't. It's not what I would have wanted to do. So I just like free flowed LEDs to a song I liked. Like, and it is like I'll tell you right off the bat, those things are like excruciatingly gut wrenching.
Well, and tell me,
And
because I
no,
already
I
know
can
as
go
a
perform for
host,
like I've performed for 10,000 people, dude. And
right?
performing for 250 homies is like and honestly, I can't even tell you yet because like I haven't even put real work. The 2019 act, I actually did put real work into that, like at the time what I was capable of, but now since 2019 to 2023, like I feel like I've developed a lot stylistically.
Dude, totally.
I've developed a lot. I've have like 4 years of performing under my belt to develop under. I've also grinded a lot of tech. I feel like I have something to offer right now. So this year I'm actually going to put together a gala. I don't know if it'll get
Hey,
accepted anywhere, but like maybe it'll be a Flow Storm, maybe it'll be a Fire Drums. I don't
let's
know. Maybe I'll
go.
fucking punk out because like every single day. I'm like, I said earlier, I was like, I think about quitting like all the time. And it's just like, it's so easy to talk yourself out of it. Like I feel more nervous now than I did when I was worse. You know what I mean?
Right, dude. Okay, hold on. Okay, so the biggest takeaway from what you just said, number one, performing for a typical event, such as y'all know, hopefully what I'm saying, a muggle event, all right? Somebody,
Yeah, but hold on. I want to scratch. I want to say something on the muggle word, and
please.
this is like a PSA. People, we could use the word. I use the word. Whatever. Some people really don't like the word. But I just want to say this: like, muggles aren't dumb. Like my biggest pet peeve in the performing art community is when someone goes and does a gig where you're getting paid money, where you're representing the performance art community, the paid platform in which we exist on, and you're like, I just heard people say this shit where they're like, "Oh, it's just for muggles," like whatever. Like, no, go put effort into it. And like,
Ooh,
don't go out there and think like, oh, it's just for muggles. Like, they won't care. Muggles aren't dumb. Like, they still understand like competency and fluidity and musicality, and your goal
all
anyways
right.
is to connect with muggles. Like, let's talk about performing art, like as far as poi, right? Some people think like poi is not the best performance thing of all the things, but like the the thing is not the ability to like it's not the ability to like show shapes, even it's like the ability to connect, to create like a connection and engagement, a story. And I think that's for me, I feel like with the Muggle performance, that is like one of the things that matters the most, especially performing right after COVID. I felt like you really wanted to like fill these people up with joy when they've had to be like at their homes, locked in, no social interaction. And so like, what can people relate to? People can relate to musicality. People can relate to like synchronized movement. People can relate to a beat dropping and then you doing something epic. Like where, like how can you make them understand it? You know what I mean? Like when I do a fire show, I'll send you the YouTube video, and it's something like people are cheering the whole time, or we do pumpkin nights, like, and it's because we design our shows that way. It's like we've kind of I don't know. This year I feel like we made a science out of it. It was so much fun.
That's so cool, man.
And to me, I find it's like, yeah, for sure. It's like I want to make the best product possible, but I approach it like I want to make this connection with these people. And people can understand tech, or they can understand that they're mind blown, and that's fucking cool.
Right.
Like no one
No,
like
I really do appreciate you mentioning that and you stopping me. Because
yeah, so about the
that's
muggle,
fucking
just on the muggle word, I think like, yeah, I don't want people to ever think too lowly of muggles, because
that's
I think
what's
that just
up, dude.
devalues us as performers. So
Oh man. Okay, well, I really appreciate that perspective.
I just think
Muggles
it's like
in
two different performances, but so yeah, go ahead on the like muggle verse.
well,
uh
I was just gonna say, like, you know,
it is
like
more intense,
because
performing for the flora festivals.
there's stereotypically a huge difference. Like the backbend buzzsaw, everybody fucking loses their mind. You wouldn't be doing that shit at a faux arts festival, right?
Mhm.
Because like the standards are higher, and that's
Yeah.
just it is what it is, right?
Yeah,
So
and even though like I'll say like I want to build a gala this year, right? Like I want to build a fire gala. And like I identify, like people talk about, oh, I'm a policeman, I'm a floaters. I'm a fire dancer. Like that's where I identify like I train for fire all the way. And um when I'm gonna do something that I get paid for money at a muggle performance, right? It's gonna be a different show than what I'm gonna want to do on a stage at Fire Drums or something, like blessed, like if that was ever an opportunity that comes to my like soul, right? Um, but they're still gonna be good. My Muggle performance is $500 an hour.
right,
But like my
let's
Fire Drum performance is
go,
a once
let's
in a lifetime
go.
thing. And so it's like I don't even know what that looks like yet, because I'm like, that's the pressure that I feel like
All right,
of like being under to try to create something like that. Is I'm like, what can I even do? And so I do have ideas, and they're cooking, but it's
for
tough,
sure.
man, because you want to tell a different story. Like I want to tell a story to connect with performers, so I know that they can actually like I can actually breach a point of connection with them that's deeper, where like even on like an emotional level, but on like a skill point, I see you level, on multiple levels, where like with a Muggle audience, I'm really just gonna catch like this connection of like excitement, you know.
Right.
And but also like I'm sure like performing those things, like people, the Florida community is so nice, like and so supportive. And like the thing is, at the end of the day, the people out in that audience like love it and love you and are there to see it. Uh and that almost makes it worse because you're like, fuck, I really want to do my best for the people who like really
Well,
see me,
okay.
you know.
All right. All
So
right. So let me interrupt. So the reason I mentioned Muggles and performing and full arts festivals and all that is because like I am less impressed now more than ever. That's just what
mhm.
it is, right? I've been in this game for a long fucking time. I know the ins and outs of patterns, grids, timing, direction, contact, tosses, juggling, you fucking name it. I've seen it, I know it, right? Right? So like I am less impressed naturally because I've been in this shit for a long time. So like when I am performing for a crowd that knows what the fuck is up, I want to be catering towards their loves and towards their expectations and their like what makes them excited, right? So
Mhm.
this is a big thing is because like I don't want to devalue muggles, but they don't know what the fuck's up, right? You say
No, they don't
they
know
do
what's
know.
up, but you should
They do
still try
know
to provide
timing,
entertainment that is
direction, of
entertaining.
course, right? All that. All right, cool.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
still want to be entertaining. We still want to bring our best, right? Which is something that you emphasized, which is so important, right?
But you're
But at the
right. They
same
don't know. They don't know.
time, they're not gonna fucking freak out over a folding line or a fishtail versus whatever, So it's like all these little things about creating a flow arts festival specific performance. It is different. It is different, and you have more experience performing in the quote unquote Muggle world, right? So I understand why you would have that feeling. But they are different. They are different realms, and I think it's important to yeah, it's a different
Oh, dude,
performance,
it's
man. It really
crazy. Like
is.
I
It
get,
really is a different
I get
performance.
like imposter syndrome thinking about trying to want to create a piece at this point. You know what I mean?
Why? Why?
Because there's so many like crazy people out there. You know what I mean? And because that's like, I don't know, man. Because I put more energy, and it's just like I put more energy into different things that is typically displayed. Like, I don't know. Like,
I mean, it's really, really different for you because you're like, okay, from me, I perform less than you for sure,
totally.
undoubtedly, right? Way less, right? But like when I'm performing for somebody who's not a flow arts crowd, I do things that I know are pretty, I know are gonna wow the crowd, and I know that most importantly, I'm not gonna fuck up on. There's easy shit, right?
Mhm.
But it's
Totally.
it's still it still brings like I'm still like quote unquote pushing myself, right? Because like it's hard. Like I worked hard to be there, but at the same time, like I know that I'm not gonna drop on that shit. I know that I'm not gonna fuck that up. So
Yeah.
it's
See, I think for
really
me, it's like when I'm performing for like a Muggle crowd, I feel like an A plus. I'm like, this is the coolest
yeah.
shit they've ever seen in their entire life. But when I'm
Right.
performing for the homies, I'm like out of all the people that I know that attend the flower festivals and like the people that I compare myself to way too much,
It's an
I'm
added level.
I'm like a B plus. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, and I'm like, damn man, like I don't know. And I'm just like I start like I don't know. Like I don't
See,
think, and we haven't even really gotten to like Poi because we haven't even started watching these videos yet. But like I think some of the more directions that Poi has to go, I think a lot of Poi has been discovered. I think Poi has more directions to like break because what we're all trying to chase is like Poi tech nerds is like breaking ground, which hasn't happened in a really fucking long time. So
bro,
music,
fuck out of here. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to
okay,
interrupt you.
there's three
This,
Poi.
this.
There's no, not like okay, there's a lot of
This
groundbreaking with like
podcast is
Bo.
gonna run long. I'm interrupting this man. I don't give a fuck. No,
No,
we
no, no!
have
Don't let me
broken.
say that. Let me take that back. Let me take that
We
back because
have
there is a
broken
lot of
shit.
ground being broken with like Bo and like all these other things. But there's a lot, like a lot of what people are doing on a baseline level has been done by like glow stickers since
Your
like
dog right here, dog.
28. You know?
You're my right here.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
as humble as I am, as much respect as I have for other artists. Nah, bro. Myself as an artist, I have broken like I have broken tons of tech walls. I've explored tons of areas of contact that haven't been done before. So
Hmm.
believe in yourself, dude. Believe in yourself. And this is something I've said on previous episodes, but I will say right now, no matter how big a number is, it is always closer to zero than it is to infinity, right? So there's there's always room to expand. There's always room to expand. It's not me being I'm such an important person, like I'm so special. Nah, bro, that's not what it is. I am dedicated to this shit, and I know that I have more to expand upon the ideas that have already been presented, right? So
No,
like,
and you are like one of those people. There's like 4 or 5 people in poi right now that are like at that pushing point, and those points are in like 3 poi juggling contact hybrid patterns. Like I could spit off like a handful, and you're in that list. Like you, Bo, Beacon, Greg Haskins was real big on like breaking contact patterns, right? Like there is a like I think with the rephrase of what I would want to say is I'm probably not gonna go break no poi ground. You know what I mean? At least I don't think I will, but I think somewhere that I try to want to contribute or want to learn to contribute is like stylistically. You know what I mean? I put a lot of
right,
effort into like movement because performance is like where my strong suit is. And so I've had to take up a lot of space and a lot of stages and a lot of areas, and poi is a very interesting thing to perform, you know. And so my like I feel like where I might go and like what's next for me in poi is just keep pushing, and like what I would want to apply and present to a Florence festival is like how can I make a stylistically and habited piece, like, and some of the best people that are some of my favorite poi spinners, like they're absolutely crazy, but what's crazy about them is like their style, shinobi, right? Like
oh, dude,
Tim
that's my
Goddard,
man.
right?
That's my man.
Like
I love
um
that guy. I love that guy.
Ashley has a crazy style. Like sometimes you think she's just slow, but nah, she's crazy.
If you
And
have gotten this far through the podcast, stay tuned because Ashley is about to come on. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. But Ashley is one of my earliest contact poi inspirations, and she's absolutely incredible.
man,
So
she's goated, and like she's a friend. Like shout out to Ashley. Like she's in Austin, Texas, and in that 2018 to like nowish period, she's always been someone who's shown me things like behind the scenes and like tech, and just always a super nice person. And um yeah, like above her time for sure at the time. And uh yeah, and just super
absolutely,
inspiring as like a genuine human in general too, just like a nice person.
absolutely, man. So yeah, I think the main point that kind of needs to be pushed here is that there's so much room for growth on every single artist that is pushing poi and that wants to get better. There's
Yeah,
so
and I
much
think there is so much room to grow in poi.
I
um
really don't like this sentiment um that it's like we've discovered everything. Fuck out of here, bro. No. No.
No, but I think people should understand the history of how much was discovered how long ago. You know what I mean?
I agree
And I
with
think
that.
that alone is a driving point to go further. You know what
I
I mean?
agree with that. I do. I do. I get
And
it.
I'll get
Like we
into it when
mentioned
we watch some of these
let's
videos I
pull them
pop
up.
up.
Let's pull them up. Let's
Let's
pull them
go
up. We'll
videos.
start
Okay.
we'll start bullshitting through this next segment here. All right.
Pull up the Lord of the Strings videos.
All right. We'll start bullshitting through this next segment. But what I'm saying is like no matter how goated or incredible, like surreal or like Tim Goddard or Jonathan Alvarez or all the really fucking influential people in the landscape of
Mhm.
poi, they're dope. I
No, there's
have
always
more to do
more.
here. I have more to do here, and you listening right now, you do too, my friend. You do too, and you as well, Taz. You have more shit to do. So like,
Yeah,
don't
we're
sell
not
yourself
done.
short, man. Don't sell yourself short. And there's way more to do in this fucking poi landscape, you know.
Yeah.
So walk me through this leaking out trill style
Yeah.
2012. Who the fuck who?
So this is Texas in the in like the time I started spinning poi. Like the big thing in the culture at the time was like glow sticking, and then also like glow sticking in nightclubs. And then I was never really a part of it because I was like a kid, but it was like kind of fascinating because they would have these like crews of people, like dance crews of like people spinning poi, you know. And I don't know, I love this style of video because you kind of just get to see like everybody's different impact on it.
Yeah, tell me about the significance of this video and why you decided to add it.
Okay, the significance of this video and why I decided to add it. So it's because I have this whole topic of, I mentioned it to you, we were talking a little bit before the show, before we started recording, but I think poi today is kind of a reflection of these two different schools of thought that existed around the same time, right? And whether people see it or not, I think it's kind of like where it adapted, right? Because there was like this like very elegant contact style that was being developed, Woosley, Ronin, Cyril, right? And then in like LA, California, nightclubs in Europe, Ohio, Chicago. My buddy has like this document of like all the history of glow streaming, but like from about like I did like a deep dive search before this, and it goes back all the way to like 2003, right? It was like the oldest video that I could find. And it wasn't nowhere near like as good as what these people are doing. Like that dude just did an op straight jacket in 2012. Like you probably missed it, but
it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Insane,
right? And the stuff that they're doing at the time, and it was like people were watching tutorials, and all this stuff. But yeah, so glow sticking was this big culture, and it had a whole different style than like say like the typical poi scene on YouTube. And like I said, I kind of like just had me and my mom's computer at 16 looking at poi videos, and so I had like found all this stuff. But this was stuff equally like the serial video was. I was like, what? Like I don't even, you know. Real
quick. So shout out, because I know y'all watch this podcast, all right? Shout out to the glow stringers that watch this podcast. That's all right. You know who I'm talking about, all right? Big references, you know. Glow stringing does not get a lot of attention.
I've noticed that, and so I felt like I needed to like come up into it with it.
That's great. As a host, I'm gonna say right now, glow stringers, y'all do not get enough attention, and shout out to you and the culture behind it, because a lot of the people that started in late 2000s, early 2010s, we all got really inspired typically by glow stringers, right? So that was like the culture that brought us into spinning poi. And I just want to say shout out to you, the people that made this video, and the people that laid the groundwork for glow stringing and what poi became in the next coming years. Big deal.
Because I mean, all this is like inversions, negative space, like body tracing, straight jackets,
technical
like,
shit,
2-beat tech, like. And the thing about it is at the time, like, they were all like doing like, this was a crew. They were like battling people in nightclubs and shit. It was like, all, like they were like the style was fast because they didn't want people to understand how they were doing their tricks. Damn. It was like secretive. You know what I mean? Look at this shit. This shit's nuts.
No, that homie. God damn it! I'm so mad that I can't remember his name right now. Damn it, dude. I know this motherfucker. God, I'm feel so bad. Homie, if you're watching this and you know and you think that I don't know who you are, I'm sorry. I do know who you are. I apologize. But no,
you know that guy?
I do know that.
That's cool. I love this style of video. I was just saying I wanted to make one for my local area. I like the cipher, you know, like everyone's
so cool.
It's
so cool.
But they were all battling at the time, right? And I feel like that was motivating to like, look at this is nuts. They were all battling at the time, and I feel like that was driving people to competition among friends, like among enemies, you know what I mean? Whatever.
Yeah.
Like, the competition, like, I think that like accredits like how fast and how far and how deep they broke ground was like the mindset at the time. And
Shout
then
out
even the
to
people who weren't battling, if you go watch old glow sticking videos, they were battling the people who weren't battling because they were like, no crews, we don't battle. Like, that's cool. Like, I don't know what the difference was. I wasn't around at the time. I don't know if they were like all assholes who were battling and they were like trying to be like, we're friendly or whatever. But they were just motivated by those people, to get better. And so they were all just pushing each other.
All right, so your next video was a video titled Sparrow Stringing Practice Session 2012. It's another glow stringing session and another glow stringer that is getting on the podcast. So tell me about why do you think it's really significant for you to get a glow stringer on the podcast and mention them in the credits here for inspiration?
Yeah, I think like and I think I said 2012, but I know there's a description of this somewhere that the date was actually 9/09/09, which was kind of cool.
Okay.
But this is I think it's significant because glow stringing has broke like so much ground so early on. And they've like already had awareness of a lot of these spaces that I feel like to a degree people thought were like new, right? But besides that, they had like their unique twists, and they had like a lot of things new. Like they were already aware of kind of like this space right here, especially like I think he does it in this. He does a straight jacket in that space, and that's even unheard of like today. And yeah, this video specifically, this is just like I loved watching this video because this is a good friend of mine. He's like fully a glow stringer. I'm a poi spinner, so like half the time I see the stuff that he does nowadays, and I'm like, whoa, what can I even comprehend and like take away with? So
it's a different style, man.
And it's a different style. So my idea with poi for myself is like I wanted to pick from both of those places that I mentioned. Like I want to pick from these glow sticking places, which I feel like is sometimes some of the stuff that I do where people are like, whoa, what was that? I'm like, oh, that's probably some stringer shit. Or like some like the traditional style of poi as well, this dude and the great thing about Sparrow is that he's very informative. He's documented a lot of glow stringing really well, and one day he'll probably release like a whole book or movie or something on it, honestly, and it'll be really cool. And if he was here, he would be a really cool person for you to have on, to be honest.
Well, shout out to Sparrow. I don't know if
he can talk
goes
for
by
days.
That name. Sweet does. Man. I mean, Sparrow again, 2000, and all the video references
like
that we
another good, like the Superman, right? That was a trick that was created out of glow stringing, and that's like the basis of 3 poi.
So Superman, sweet, but like I was saying, all the video references that we get through on the podcast, they're all mentioned down in the description of the video. So go ahead and give them a watch, give them a like, follow them, whatever, support them in any way that you can. Let them know that you have seen their video via the podcast if this is the first time that you've seen the video. So really glad that you added some glow stringing references. Now I do want to move on to the next video here because we are wrapping up on time, not to like rush us or anything, but we do have some stuff to get through here really quickly, so we'll move on to the next video. The next video that we have looks like it is a video from The Secret of Poi Flowers, introduced by Nick Woolsey, the man. All right, all right, really quick. If y'all, again, let's say that you are new to this podcast and you're this far in, which is unlikely, all right, but let's say that you are. Nick Woolsey is he's a visionary, all right, like straight up, like he is one of the most unique people of the poi spinning realm for our entire generation, and most likely for many more to come. All right, so this video, if you have not seen it, I really recommend that you go and watch it, because this is so revolutionary and important to fundamentals. Like, the reason I have really good fundamentals, I'm gonna gas myself up here for a sec, all right? Nick introduced me to flowers. He explained flowers to me. He explained what an anti-spin is, what an in-spin is. All right. Now, if you're watching the video right now, he's kind of showcasing a couple different ways to do patterns, right? So he's kind of like showing like the little fast movements away, and you're kind of like tucked up here. And then he's showcasing moves where he is fully extended and he has an arm, closer to his body, right? So these kind of movements are so important to the dynamic of what we want to be displaying as an artist, right? We want to have diversity. We want to have movements that are different. We want to not just be doing the same thing over and over, right? We want to have something to really break up our movements and the way that we're spinning, right? So Nick, one of the reasons I think Nick is so special is because he's able to showcase such a beautiful technique of the way that flowers should be done, and then kind of crunch up and show the ways that flowers like could be done, right? So he's very visionary in the sense of how many different ways could we be doing flowers? How many different ways could we be doing different patterns? And for real, if you've, like I already said it, go watch the video. If you haven't, seriously do, because this video applies to not only expert level poi spinners, but brand new poi spinners who are trying to learn the grid, who are trying to learn the ins and the outs of the in spins, anti spins, all this shit. Please go watch it. It's so good. And this video was filmed in 2006, dude.
Nuts, dude. And Nick Woosley was crazy ahead of his time.
17 fucking years ago, y'all. 17 fucking years ago. Holy shit.
Big ups to you, man, for having him on here. That was a really cool show.
Let's go, dude. I'm like proud of myself for having that, man.
I think the cool part about that video was that like it really displayed like moving your body around the flowers as well, like how you can switch from like anti-spin to in-spin without like having to change the direction of your arms, which is crazy for like transition theory musicality, and it just really opened up a lot for me.
That was the biggest part. That was like the biggest part of the video. And my brother Sky, shout out to you. I know you're watching it right now. Sky learned everything as far as flowers.
Man, now this shit, if you haven't seen this, everybody needs to go watch this.
Flow Show, ʞᴇᴜ 2013. This is a big video. Nikki, shout out again, dude. I think this is.
Was this on here?
I think Nikki has been mentioned 3 times in a row, but here's the caveat. I'm pretty sure Nikki has had a different video for every single episode that we have discussed him on. I could be wrong, y'all. Cool. All right, don't roast me. I think he
also wants to go roast by, like, Nico now or something.
Nikki, we'll just call him ʞᴇᴜ for now. If I'm incorrect, correct me. But for real, y'all, this is a big deal, and just shout out to Mr. Evers. We'll just call him Mr. Evers.
Mr. Evers. Yeah, I think because I don't think they can hear the audio on this. The audio was so significant. I think nowadays he'll like DJ at Kindle now, or Packfire before, and he plays music.
Go watch the video.
And so you gotta go watch the video. The audio of it is a whole. It makes a whole nother level, and so it's like on top of like the theatrics that's happening behind the musicality, like just the way that like studying Nick Woosley and like some of my teachers in Texas, like Ashley Galliford and Darren, studied him before I was able to as well, and just being able to learn from them as well. This style of like, I describe it as like, you're not like spinning, for a long time we think about spinning the poi around our body, but I feel like when Nicky spins, it's like he's putting his body into the poi. And in everything that he's doing, he's just thinking about like his body the whole time. And that makes sense. He was very Tai Chi studied, and he had the whole Poi Fu, Poi Chi, and that was really big. Like I think that's been mentioned on here before, but that was a really groundbreaking 9 video tutorial series. It was just like, Yeah, like I still go back and look at like the last couple because they're just like pretty particular, you know.
Dude,
And just in like
again,
I don't know, he's just so cool.
so again, the documentary, we've mentioned this a couple other times on the podcast, but for real, go watch the Flow Arts documentary done by Nikki Evers. He is an absolute icon, a visionary, and somebody who's done so much work for the Flow Arts community. So go ahead and check out Nikki Evers, incredibly gifted poi spinner as well as a visionary and as far as content for anything Flow Arts related. Now,
Yeah, he really went from like amazing flow artist to like amazing community member.
Now, what we are going to get into is the last video reference that we have already spoken about, but Tim Goddard is, bro. I don't want to like this podcast can't be oversaturated by folks that I just talk about all the time. But for real, if you have
but
not seen this
Tim,
video,
man,
for real,
holy
okay, if
shit.
you've not seen this video, please, for the love of God, go watch it. All right, like Equilibrium 2018, Tim Goddard, 2 poi performance leading up to a 3 poi finisher. All right, his energy, his tech.
He doesn't even like spin the poi for like 30
Nah,
seconds,
for real,
and I love
for
that.
real,
I'm just
for
like he's just
real.
like building the energy.
It's so good, and something that goes so like hand in hand with that is that people already know who the fuck he is, right?
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like a
he's just-
status. It's like, all right, bro, this is Tim Goddard. He could be fucking waving the poi around, holding him, and people are like freaking out, ready to see what he's about to do. This is one of my favorite fire performances of all time.
Yeah,
for real,
dude,
for
it's
real.
so good. It's crazy.
It's so fucking good, dude.
And he like really accentuates this like I love Nikki. Nikki's amazing. I love some other people who really chase that style, but then I love this fast, speedy style. It just tickles my heart. You know what I mean? The musicality, the quickness, the quick snappy stalls, the quick snappy tosses, and because it makes me feel like it's like kind of like glow stinging again because that was all fast, you know. But this is like a poi combination with the speed, you know. There's not a lot of people that push speed with poi that make it look good right now. And
well, it's the speed combination of slowing down versus speeding up and doing a pattern really clean and knowing when you have to or want to slow the pattern down to make it look really good and to emphasize the pattern versus
well, and I wanted to put those 2 videos side by side too. Actually, I'm glad that you did the Nikki Evers showcase and the Tim Goddard showcase because they both are in the really big school of thought of speed changes, but it's entirely different.
Yeah, totally. And speed changes are a really important part of performing, right? Because you want to be able to be doing different things the whole time as far as the way that the audience is receiving it, right? So if you're doing a pattern that's just fucking incredibly technical and it creates an illusion, like caps, right? Like if I want to be doing like a 4-petal flower or like opposite 4-petal flower that like has that snap, like it looks aesthetically pleasing and it just comes off beautifully, right? And then there's what Tim is doing right now. Okay, he's doing a pendulum versus a 4-petal that's changing planes, right? And this is not hard. What he just did there just barely was not hard. Okay, and then what he transitions into is a plane change, is into a juggling change, and he boom, speed change, right? So it's mixing in the technical abilities with patterns as well as the like I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the word. Manipulation, right? So like manipulating your poi around and making them look a certain way and slowing down the time to make it really
right, because
right?
what is fast or slow, but the opposite, like but the essence of the opposite of it, or the absence of the opposite of it, right? Like speed is just like the like the lack thereof slow, right? And so you could either be someone who only like spins fast all the time or only spins slow all the time, but that goal is like that that combination of that fluidity of both of them, because poi in this way of like stalls really quick and isolation's really slow. It has this wonderful feeling, and
Mm.
like some of the most like blissful states of my existence has been like when poi just feels like it to the music, and you're just hitting every beat, and you're just like, ugh. And there's nothing like that in the world. You know what I mean? To just be like feeling really effortless and flow in the flow state with your craft. And that's just kind of where the flow state tends to lie, or that's a goal of the flow state, I guess. I don't know. It is also beautiful. I love how it looks. I love trying to perform
Completely.
like that. Um,
And
it's
you're getting
definitely like,
there. You're really, really pushing the tech as well as the performance aspect. So to close things off, we have a couple other topics to get into. All right, Taz, brings me to a category. All right. Now, Joey, our co-host, is going to ask this question. I'm going to ask it on his behalf. All right. What prop do you find to be the most challenging?
that's a good question. I mean, I think Marvin said it in his, and I'm just gonna agree. Like poi is the most challenging prop, but I feel like because of the certain natures of other props, like certain things become harder than others, right? Like,
Sure.
I think like a good segue into that is like fans, right? Like 10 out of 10, I can teach someone VTG flowers on fans probably like way faster than I could teach them it on poi, right? But I could probably teach someone reels on poi quicker than I could teach it to them on fans, right? Because the fan static
Mm,
nature with poi, those anti spins are kind of tough at first because you can't like hold it there and think about your next move, you know?
right, right, right.
But with
Because you can
fans, we
just
can hold it there and
pause.
yeah, you can't, it just falls, right? Gravity.
Right.
And so with that, I do think poi is harder, but I do think like when I want to drill out quarter time patterns, I go pick up my fans because like geometrically I can slow it all down, you know?
That's what's up. Yeah.
So
And I
I
can
think
see
poi is
that.
the hardest prop, like two item, like per item, two prop, and then like three, you know? Um, like with everything that's going on in juggling right now, it's like all 3 point patterns are gonna be harder with poi than clubs,
It's
you know?
it's really hard to compare. But what I will say is, yeah, like poi is really the basis for a lot of the grid theory that has been constructed, and that applies
Yeah.
to
As a
hoops,
multi-prop
fans,
dude, if
staff,
you
all that
learn
stuff.
poi and then you branch out and learn everything else, I feel like it's a really good way. Like I was able to be, I was a poi spinner, and then I was able to go pick up contact dragon fans within, I feel like quicker than I would have without the poi background, you know?
For sure. Cool, man. Well, we'll close out the episode here. I want to get into the last couple topics that we have. Number one, I really want to talk about. I'm gonna put you on the spot here for a sec. Who are your current biggest inspirations in the poi world? Go ahead and shout them out. If you need to take a second to think about it, I'm
No,
gonna
I
try to
could
fill
just
in.
start
All
naming
right,
them, dude.
list them, dog.
I mean, this is my favorite question. I put so much thought into this
Let's
question.
go.
Because right away, like, well, it's really cool on the podcast. I wanted to come in here and really talk about those people, and they always do early on, who are inspiring. We get those base level people out of the way. But lately, man, the people who hold it together are the people that like spin with me when I want to go spin.
Yeah,
Like those people inspire me. But like the people who are really pushing it right now, dude, there's like a handful of people that are really pushing it and really consistent on like pushing out new content to look at.
list them.
um
List them.
well, you right off the bat, like I can't even like forget about you. We were just talking about like speed changes. You like question me about 3 point. I love when you spin 2 point, dude, because like
That's
you're
so
doing you're
funny.
doing all of that. Like you're getting like you have such a well-rounded style of like speed, manipulation, contact pattern, and that's what my brain really loves.
Thanks, man.
Connor right off the bat, and like his whole devotion to like the rapid transition theory lineage, or the like train of thought.
Yeah,
But then yeah, I mean further than that, dude, Chesh, like Tim Goddard, Ashley Galliford, Darren
let's
Waller,
go.
uh we didn't play his video, but I think I put it up. But Nick Wando is like a crazy big inspiration. He's this dude you'll barely ever see spin poi, but it's like one of those
Yeah, I
people you
know.
don't get to see at the flow
Mm-hmm.
festivals. Man, like I said, the people who like to spin with me at home, you know, my homie Marcus, Dante, uh,
Yeah, yeah, I
Mark,
know
like
Dante. Let's go.
the people who just are like, yo, let's go to the park, like that inspires me, you know?
Yeah,
And then like,
yeah,
and then I'll have to shout out to like like I said, I've thought about a lot about this question, and as a artist, as a full time performer, and as like someone who's just trying to like keep mentally okay all the time, like you got to look for inspiration in weird ways. You know what I mean? Like like you know, maybe you have like a muse, or maybe you have like
that's
something
what's up.
pushing you in the back. Like my background of like adversity to success is totally an inspiration for me, you know what I mean? Like, or like your haters or whatever, you know what I mean? Like whatever you can pull inspiration from to keep fucking going and getting up in the morning and grinding and pushing and playing. Like, you know, I try to draw inspiration from anything I can see throughout the day, whether it's like a kid laughing or someone trying or a video that I'm seeing, like, but it's not always like poi to this, you know, it's like,
Right, right, right.
um, you know,
Artistic
I
inspirations.
artistic inspiration and just the mindset that I see some people have when they train. I had a buddy that told me at a flow festival that tried to fall in love with practicing, and he builds like a routine for himself where he does like structured, and I'm not a very structured person. I struggle with it. I'm very ADHD, as you probably will see if you made it this far in the episode. And so like that inspired me, just like the train of thought. Going to flow festivals inspires me. Like, and I'll tell you what, before I was a flow artist, me and Vanna used to just send videos back and forth together, like shooting ideas, poi fans, whatever. And all I remember was like so innocent, like our motivation was just like to want to do cool shit in the fire circle with the homies, you know?
Yeah,
And
for
like
real.
that can be inspiring, you know? I mean, it's such an innocent inspiration, but it can drive you, or maybe it does at the time, you know? But it's just like the world's so crazy, whatever you can find that'll push you, use it, you know?
Yeah, for real. I really loved that answer. I think that people that are pursuing poi at a super high level, as well as folks who are really stoked on poi, and they're just trying to be the best version of themselves that they can be, and they're trying to learn. They're pushing in their own sense, right? Like these people are all important in their own ways, and I'm really glad that you were able to shout out people that not only have a significant role in the poi community, but as well as like some folks who are, you know, under recognized, and people who have a lot more to give to the flow arts world as far as passion goes, and folks who are really stoked on learning and being there and being present, right? So yeah, shout out to Vanna. Vanna's a friend of the podcast, and I'm really excited to see where we continue to grow as far as interviewing people like yourselves that are really, really passionate about the project and have really interesting stories, right? Because like your story has been very interesting from hopefully an audience perspective, but as a host perspective, man, like, dude,
Yeah, the
I've
people are
been
like, what? I thought this was the podcast, not the had a weird fucking lifestyle. Like,
but you know, it's all about growth and building, and it's just been really cool to be
yeah,
able to
and I
chat
wouldn't
with
have
you
got
about.
over any of that shit had it not been for flow arts and poi. You know what
Let's
I mean?
go.
Like
Let's
like
go. Clip
people,
that.
I know a
Clip
couple
that.
people there's like can throw around the words like flow arts saved my life. Like this should save my life for sure, in countless times in countless ways. You know. And so I only hope that, you know, I can provide it more visibility and inspire people to do the same. Like I said, what got me started, and we'll bring it back to the very beginning, is what got me started was seeing this shit one time in a balcony when I was 14. It had that spark, and that's what got me. And I perform for kids all over the country, or all over, like all over all the time. So many
Yeah.
people have seen me do the thing. And it's like, man, that's what's cool, is if I can get like one person into it, and my inspiration was just like something in the dark in a parking lot, like what are these kids going to be? You know, I've got this 15-year-old student that I teach, 16 now, and he's crushing
Right.
it. It's
Right.
crazy. So the
Right.
next generation's really, I can't wait, you know, and I hope it's up to all of us to just keep draw the inspiration from like people like Nick and Drex and content creators and people who are getting out in the community and creating flow festivals and creating content so that like people can have visibility for this and inspire people
Yeah.
to keep doing it, because we are kind of the next generation is kind of coming, and people do need to step up as far
Let's
as
go.
like who's going to take the reins of these people who, you know, a lot of these organizers are really holding it down. Like one day they're going to stop, and
Yeah.
then we're going to
That's
be
what's
left
up.
with a decision to make
So
as the next
so
generation.
you watching this right now, this applies to you. I keep mentioning my viewers as I'm going on in the podcast, but it's really important because the viewers and the supporters of this project and of this art, you are so important, you know, for real. Like, you made it this far in the podcast. I'm literally talking to you. You can become what we aspire to be, you know.
Dude,
And
anybody can become anything. We're just people who play with toys, like, and through practice of those toys, we've became like skillful and presented opportunities to ourselves. Like anybody can do this. Anyone could be a volunteer, a community leader, a
yeah,
skilled performer. Like you just got to get up and do it every single day.
cool,
And
man.
yeah, not to say
That's
it's just as easy as that, but why
That's a
not
really
try?
good message. That's a really good message, man. We'll go ahead and close it out with that. It's been a fantastic episode. Man, go show some love to Tazz, bro, because this man is, like I said, he's just killing it in the ways that we really deep down want to be killing it in. So show him some love. Please let us know what you enjoyed about the episode. Hopefully this was a really good change of pace for you as a viewer. If you made it this far again, like this was we're taking a little bit new routes, and we're trying to take things a little bit differently as far as inspirations and you know, references, the kind of content that we're getting into. So if you like that, go ahead and let us know for real. Tazz, goddamn, bro, episode 22, bro. It's been a really good one, man. I want close it out. How do you think you enjoyed? Did you enjoy the podcast experience? Did you closing thoughts? Give me some things to work off here.
Yeah, man. No, thank you so much for having me. It was really cool. Like I said, I probably watched all of these. I could talk for another 2 hours about poi and props and festivals and inspirations and what I want to do next. And it's pretty much what me and my friends all talk about. And so it's cool to be given this platform. I think what you're doing here is awesome. And you know, like even if they don't all get like the traction today, like I think YouTube is such like an archive that I think all of this is just going to be valuable. Um, and I love listening to it. So I hope people enjoy this. I hope like people take this and run with it. And um, yeah, man, I don't know. It's kind of a little nerve wracking to get up here and be like,
I
yo,
know
I
it
got this like crazy ass history and like I
is.
kind of like made this whole thing of myself. But like that's just my story. And like hopefully I don't like
Nah,
get
bro,
like
bro.
judged for
I'm
it
gonna stop
or
you right there. I'm gonna
yeah,
stop
yeah.
you right there, man. Like this podcast is about the person. You know, it's about the person that we're interviewing, and sure, it's about the community at large and who, you know, who we take inspirations from and all that stuff, man. But you are making your own lane in the poi spinning world, in the flow arts world. You're making your own lane in the performance world, and this is just such a cool episode for us to do because you are redefining a fire performer and the kind of professionalism, and even through all the shit, all the shit that you've been through as a person, right? You have grown so much and risen to the occasion of you know, inspiration and professionalism and all that stuff, man. It's just like such an honor to have you on. So like, dude, as much as you appreciate being on the platform, The platform appreciates you coming on and being a part of it. And we'll go ahead and close it out, man. It's just been a really, really good episode. And please support this man. Go ahead and find him on socials. Ask him any questions that you have about performing, content creation, any questions. He's a very responsive individual. So go ahead and shoot him any questions that you have. But episode 22, my friends, we'll go ahead and close it out. It's been real. Thank you very much. Peace out.